Hello, welcome back to City Planner Plays, where we are playing Anno 1800 inefficiently, or so I've been told in the comments for the previous episode. But I also read that you guys didn't mind it. You like to see a playthrough that had a focus on not just the functionality of the game, but also the beauty of it. All of that said, the city does have to function, and there are some major shortcomings in the way that I built the city in the previous episode. And buildings such as this one are going to prevent us from what I want to do today: hit the high seas and claim some new islands. So in today's episode, I'm going to be taking some of your advice and improving the functionality of this city so that we can hit the high seas and claim some land. I want to stabilize our budget and unlock artisans so that we can continue to improve this city. And as soon as we're done with that, we're going to scramble to claim a bunch of land. Maybe even all of the land you see on the screen. And if you're happy that we're playing Anno again, hit the like button. And if you have any tips for me, please drop them in the comments because it's incredibly helpful. Without any further ado, let's jump right in. The idea for today's episode came from Christopher Norman, who suggested that we shouldn't forget taking islands early, since capturing or buying from NPC characters is very difficult unless you are a much higher tier than them. And that's something I hadn't really considered, but it's something I want to take care of today. And I'm most interested in these two islands. There are a couple of things you should consider when you're capturing islands in this game, or at least from what I can tell. Number one is the fertility of the islands, and number two is the self-defense that the island might provide. So in this case, this island has a different fertility than our mainland. We are able to grow red peppers here and grapes. On our mainland, we are able to grow hops, grains, and potatoes, and we also have fur. This island right here is basically the same as our main island, except that it also has nitrate deposits. So there is a purpose for both of these. And if we do have the ability, I might want to grab this one too, just so that no one else gets it. And I'm hoping that that doesn't make people angry with me, but we'll find out. However, before we can even consider settling new lands, we need to sort things out here in Calemborg. Our budget is out of whack, and it might look okay right now, but I assure you it is not. We have worker shortages, and we're oscillating between a content population and one that's very unhappy. There are a number of reasons for this, and thankfully, Remy Today and Overlord Flowers came to the rescue with some tips in the comments from the previous episode. One of the things that was mentioned in both of their comments was that we should get rid of the steelworks. So the steelworks is incredibly expensive early on in the game, costing 200 in upkeep and 200 worker workforce. So we're going to get rid of this, and instead of producing our own steel beams, we are going to import them from the crown. So we'll delete this. Maybe that wasn't the right idea. Come to think of it, I probably could have turned that off and just saved it for later, but we at least got $1,000 back, so that's something. We do need money. The other building I want to get rid of back here is this one, the trade union. I can't turn this one off, and it's not useful unless you have items to place in there. We have this one, the livestock farmer. Maybe we don't actually get rid of this. Maybe we move this closer to our pigs, and then we can add in the livestock farmer. And now she's going to at least boost our pigs. I wonder, is the best place? Maybe it's right here. So if we go Control Q, we can check out our statistics. This was the other thing that was mentioned. So we can check out our balance in terms of our demand and our supply. So the blue shows our demand, the green shows our supply, and we can see where there is a mismatch. For instance, we see that we have a higher demand for fish than our supply. So we probably need a fishing dock. Same thing here with schnapps. We have a demand that's twice as high as our supply, so we probably need to build another schnapps distillery. Then we have other things where our supply is absolutely crazy. Look at this. For wool, we have a significant amount more supply than demand. Now, this takes us back to something else that we'll get to in just a moment, but I think I have a bunch of buildings turned off that maybe I shouldn't. The other one that I noticed is soap. We have a strong demand for soap and no production. So I want to think about that right off the bat, because I think that that's going to be really important from a financial standpoint, because both Remy Today and Overlord Flowers suggested that I sell that instead of the potatoes and coal that I am currently selling. So let's look at our soap supply chain. We have one rendering works right now, and this produces tallow in an hour. So we should be able to build 2 soap factories. These are unattractive, so I'm going to build them out yonder, way out here. There we go. So we have our soap factory. It is missing tallow, but that will get there soon enough. And there we go. They're bringing tallow back. This one can't reach any warehouses, which is what I was worried about. It's kind of on the edge. To fix this, I'm just going to pave this. We've got plenty of clay and a bit of money. So that should do the trick for us. Now we can reach it. Very good. So I mentioned all the buildings that are off. I'm going to hit L so I can see all of the information about the buildings. So I turned these off, which was helpful from a worker standpoint, but I think I was thinking about the cost as well. It's -10. That's not really much of anything. So I'm going to re-enable these. Framework knitters is a bit more expensive, but we're going to need these because we're going to start building some ships. And then I turned off the sawmill. And again, very important, only $10, and I still turned it off. So that wasn't my finest moment there. The other thing I turned off, I believe, is this flour mill. We are going to enable that as well. That's 50. That is going to hurt us financially, but we're going to resolve that by building some new houses. So I'm going to copy these, hit C to get that going. Let's just extend a block out. So we've built these new farmhouses, and I don't want to overreact. Obviously, we have a big deficit in terms of farmers, but these houses are also kind of empty. We could downgrade a couple of houses if we have to, but again, we overreact, we're likely to pay the price. So I'm going to let this go for a minute, and hopefully we reach an equilibrium. It's not going to happen. So let's just continue this neighborhood out here. We'll follow roughly the same pattern. This will do the trick. So we will finally reach that equilibrium. Now, while we're waiting for all of this to come into whack, we need to start thinking about our ships. And we need to adjust our trade routes. So I'm going to start building a ship if we can. We are going to build this schooner. And the main reason for this is it has 2 cargo slots. And this is what we're going to use to start claiming the land. We now have our equilibrium there, so we should be fine. But let's adjust our trade route to really start cooking on our financial side. So I'm going to upgrade this because we're going to start sending a ton of boats out, and our economy is going to depend on this. So we'll open up our trade routes right here and look at our existing route. Now, I mentioned we've got potatoes here. We're not going to trade potatoes anymore, and we're not going to trade coal. Instead, I'm going to hold down shift and double the amount of soap that we're sending out to the prison. So this is a money maker. So this is going to be very, very helpful for us. And then here at the old world, we're going to grab some steel beams from them, and we'll drop this off back at home. So we have this one ship right now, the Dauntless, and we need additional ships that could run this route. So looking at this, the ship that I'm thinking is this one right here, the frigate. The problem is we can't unlock this without artisans. The main reason I care about this ship is it has defense. We also don't have weapons. So there are a number of things that we need to be contemplating. So I do think we're going to start building some sort of weapons factory. And I understand the timing isn't necessarily great. We're going to have to figure this out. I think this is important enough that we want to build it and consider the consequences a little bit later. And it looks like the consequence is that we don't have enough workers. We've got our schooner here, and I'm going to move this over here. And I want to start loading this up with goods so we can start claiming some islands. All right, so our trading vessel is back, and it came back with a whole bunch of steel beams. So the lumber and the steel beams all on the ship. Now this ship is going out with a bunch of soap, which will gain us some money. What I'm going to do is roll the dice a bit, and we're going to take this ship and run this out to this island over here and try to settle our first one. So we're sending this out there, banking on our trading vessel, reaching the prison and selling soap at about the same time this gets over there. So the one interesting thing that I'm seeing is that this warehouse is becoming overloaded. So these are certainly concerns for us. We're also missing goods, so our grains are low. And I'm wondering how much that's going to impact us. Holy cow. We actually need an additional 3 fields to be at equilibrium here. And it's important to remember that grains impact a ton of things, including our pork production. So the pork production impacts our sausages, which that's not a big deal, but it goes all the way to our tallow and our soap. So these are our major concerns for us. It looks like we're also not producing enough tallow. So I think we're going to add in at least one more rendering works when we can. And we now have money, so we're good there. I'm going to add one more rendering works like I mentioned. I'm going to add that right over by our factories. And now we're going to try to settle some islands as quickly as we can. So we'll build the trading post here. We can always move it. Oh, Beryl likes this because I'm slow apparently. And then it'll empty everything off the ship into the trading post. So we'll just throw that right back on our ship because we're going to go and settle more. Now, this is a dangerous area. There are lots of pirates through here. And this is one of the main reasons I want this to begin with. See that we have a newspaper going out. I want to check this out. Bankruptcy. We're not publishing that. Trinity Infinity is not in the red. In fact, spend your money, so I'm not. And we thankfully got this. But look at this. There is a pirate ship right over here. Build the trading post right away. Oh my goodness. We got very lucky. I was able to build the trading post, which has a weapon on it to protect ourselves. Let's now transfer everything back onto our schooner and try to settle one more island before our boat is taken out. We're gonna once again travel over. We have no money and we are just claiming all of the islands around us. All right, and we are on our third island and claimed. Can't believe we had money for all of that, but we did. I think that we've got to figure out and sort things out here a bit more. And we sold our soap, so we have a little bit of money. And I just remembered, I never finished building the schnapps distillery, so we're going to do that. Let's just add another one right here, right next to this. That'll help use up some of those potatoes. So now that we have this, what is going on over here? We're missing goods, we're missing tallow. Even though we built this rendering works, we're going to have issues here until we figure out our situation with our grain production. So we've got to figure this out. We're missing farm workers. We're also missing grain production generally. It's an issue in our supply chain. And I've got a solution for this because I think that we've got another issue. We've got to continue working our way towards artisans, and we've got a couple of problems. First of all, we don't have enough schools. We don't have a school at all, and we don't have enough workers to unlock the school. And then when we look at some of the other things that impact happiness, we don't have a church, it's a luxury need, and we don't have a beer, which is another luxury need. I think we can work towards having more workers, figure out our whole situation with our grains, and have some beer by creating another little village on this island. I'm going to add a new road going out over here. So the very first thing that we're going to need is a market. You can't have a new settlement without a market. Then we'll build some roads around here as well. And we're going to have a different development pattern here. I want to have this be much more condensed than our previous little community. So we'll have a bunch of farmer residents spread just a little bit apart. And the main idea here is that they've got a little bit of a yard. We can add some fences to decorate, maybe put a tree in their backyard, give them enough space to garden a bit, but not so much that we consume all the land. I'm trying to be more efficient. I'm trying to learn from you guys. But at the same time, I've got to be me. So that's the compromise. So I'm going to plan out a bit of space here. And right now, these farmers aren't doing anything. They're unhappy. And here's where we're going to line up everything with our wheat production. So I know that we at a minimum need 1. But let's double check. So Control Q, when we pop into our statistics, we're short 2 fields right now. But it's likely going to be more once we start constructing our beer supply chain. So let's look at that. And it looks like we need 2 malt houses for every field. So I'm actually going to need to build 4 fields to line things up nicely. All right, so now we have 4 fields right here, a couple of farmhouses to serve those and some yards for the farms. There's an issue though, and that's we don't have a warehouse. So I'm going to add this warehouse. Let's see how far we can get. It looks like about right here. So maybe we'll add a little bit of a road right here with a warehouse. And now all of these should be good. And that should get us some farmers moving in here and being happy as well. So let's continue down our beer supply chain. And we're going to need a malt house and a brewery. We'll put the brewery right downtown and the malt house right next to it. That would have an aroma. Some people like it, some people don't. And then we'll put a hop farm. So this requires hops fertility. We do have that here. So we'll add this right over here. And we are short of money, which is why we have not built this yet. Sometimes you just got to let things run, and we've sold our soap and now are in a fine spot once again with our budget. And now we have our hop farm. Now, one thing that I'm noticing is that we're not going to be able to, A, we don't have the workers, and B, I don't believe that we can reach this right here. So we are going to construct a stone road. This is our main artery through here. Hopefully that's good enough. You gotta be kidding me. Because I added that little nubbin right there, we're in a bad spot. So I just moved that in, and now we should be able to store everything there. I'm gonna also build out our little community here, and hopefully that stabilizes things for us. So we're still not loading these up, and I'm wondering what we can do to make these farmers happier. It looks like a brew pub might do the trick. So let's add a brew pub over here. And we should also think about a fire station. We don't want to burn this whole place down. So we're going to add our brew pub here, and then we'll add some basic city services. So that'll include our fire station, and we probably should have a police station as well. Last thing we want is a bunch of rioting over here. And while we're waiting, we can have a look at our newspaper, which talks about our labor shortage. We don't want to talk about that. Spend, spend, spend. We still need your money. That'll really help us out. And you'll get your bar. It's a win-win. And we sold our soap. They get their bar. They get their fire station. They get their police station. Everyone is happy. Looking at this, these farmsteads are starting to fill up. So it might just be a numbers problem for us in terms of the number of homes that we built. So I'm going to continue to build these out. And now we're finally in the positive, but not financially. I think one of the things that we're struggling with is that we are still not able to build our better ships. So to get this, we have to have artisans. And to get artisans, we've got to make our workers really happy. So the workers need schools, and we are currently about 90 workers shy of unlocking them. So I'm going to try to fulfill that over here. And it looks like a church might help us get there. So we'll plan for our church right there. We can't do much about the school just yet. I'm going to add in a few more homes back here. And I basically want to plan this entire area out. Now that I think about it, let's give a plaza in front of the church. And my main thought here was that I just want to be able to maintain yards and give the church something to make it feel a little bit more prominent. Now, we haven't been able to build the church until now. We'll build that, and hopefully that adds to the happiness of our workers. They're still suffering from a lack of beer, and I think that we now have the ability to resolve that. So over here, I'm going to re-enable these buildings, and then we'll produce some beer, and hopefully that makes our workers happy enough that some of them want to upgrade. And we're having a shortage of fish, so I think what we're going to do is build an additional dock here. And that might be part of the reason why we are suffering from a lack of farmers that want to upgrade. And it feels like we're at a bit of a standstill. And what might fix it is maybe we add a brew pub for the farmers over here. That might be what gets them over the hump. Actually, before we start building, let's add in a road, because I think that we could spread the benefit of our existing brew pub. So we will extend a road here. This is a very important street. And then we'll do one here as well. Money is not a problem, nor is clay. So let's extend the benefit of what we already have. So having these paved streets spreads the benefit of some of these out. So now we might see buildings like this one. Now they have great access to a brew pub, but no schnapps. She's missing it. So let's take a look at that. Control Q into our statistics, and it looks like we could use 2 more of our distilleries. And we've got the potatoes for it, so we're going to do it. And now we are cooking. We are making some decent money, and we have enough workers and farmers. And it looks like there are still some unhappy farmers, so I'm going to continue to build out these roads, and her access has improved, and the attractiveness of the city has improved as well. And look at this. We're celebrating our amazing city. That's what you like to see. And it looks like we're doing fine. Again, we're not upgrading anybody. We're right at the edge. And it makes me wonder if I've just overbuilt farmers, or because I mean, she's euphoric, yet we still aren't leveling up. So we're still just a little bit low on fishing. And I'm gonna roll the dice here, and I'm gonna see. We'll add another fishing harbor right here. We'll add this and see if maybe this pushes them over the edge, because if you look, The supply is good. Idea number 2. Let's decorate a bit around. Oh, no, look at that. All of those. We're still decorating. You can slow down. And what we're going to do is add our fences. Now I'm stuck on it. So I want to make this place look a little bit nicer. I want to upgrade some of these to be workers because we do have some workers' jobs over here. Now, I think that should be enough workers. Yes, we've unlocked a school. So we're going to place that way over here. And I like this location because it's on the paved road and look at all of the access it provides to all of these homes. While we're over here, let's get these upgraded as well. We'll speed things up just a little bit. And we can finally get to what we've been trying to do. Everyone's celebrating, everyone's thrilled, and I am one of those people. We're going to upgrade and get some artisans. So this is going to be, I think, the road of artisans. Let's upgrade that. Happy Artisan. And look at this. It's basically a mixed use building. Very attractive. We can't just have this one. We've got to have a few. So we'll have a whole street heading up here. And there are a number of reasons that I care about this. The first reason, so we come through here, the artisans have the ability to create windows. Now, windows are the thing that are holding us back from upgrading our port and all of our warehouses. If we have windows, we can upgrade these to the next level. So there's a whole supply chain here with sand, glass, timber, which we already have, or wood rather, and then we can create our window makers. So you get the sand from the ocean. So I think we'll just place that right about here. And then we'll create glass very near here. And then we'll make our windows right next to that. And with that, the canal to the land of the lions is open. No idea what that means. But apparently the first ships are going through the canal. So we'll need to keep an eye on that. I'm sure that is something valuable. Immediately, complete expedition to the land of the lions. And we don't have any boats right now. I think we've got the Godspeed, which I guess we could bring over here. Maybe send it out. We need to build some new boats though. We can finally build our frigate. So we're going to build that. Couple reasons. We need a few of these. So I want to add another one onto our main trade route. We're under attack constantly. It's been a mess. So this is going to be helpful here. But I also want to set up some trade routes to our little islands. So we need our frigate for that because they have weapons. And our little ship has strolled in. So let's see what we need for this. So we need to assign a ship, and I think we need to bring rations with. So we will send the Godspeed. And we will give them a bunch of sausage and some potatoes. What if we give them twice as much sausage? That's even better. Although maybe to mix it up, bread as well. It's the same as sausage, whatever. We'll start with this and we'll see what happens. And it looks like we're in a good spot to begin this. I don't really know what this means. I don't know where we're going, but I guess we lose this ship to go somewhere else. And at the same time, we have finished our frigate. So I want to assign this to the exact same trade route that we already are running. So we're just adding another ship to this route. There. That should give us the ability to maximize our route. You can see that we've got a lot of soap leaving, so that is perfect. The next boat that we create is going to be used for our new trade route. And in our new communities, we're going to need lumber. We're also going to likely need some steel beams. And I think there also might be some value in starting to set up some weapons here. So let's build our first bit of protection here. So let's under small harbor, and we can build a mounted gun, which will attack slow enemies over a medium range, or a cannon tower. And for our artisans, we have a flamethrower, which to me sounds a heck of a lot more intense, and I'm into it. So we're going to have a flamethrower. So to build the flamethrower, we needed clay, weapons, iron, and timber. So these are the sorts of things that I want to place around here as well. So I'm going to use this new ship to start running some of those materials across. We're going to open the trade route menu and create a new trade route. We'll send this one to this particular island. And Nachdezen. We'll start here, then we'll go to this island, then we'll go to this one, and then we'll go straight back. I guess I don't need the back. It's implied. So we'll start here by adding on some timber. I want to get rid of some of this here, but I don't want to get rid of all of it. So we'll say 25 here. Actually, why don't we go a little bit more? Well, yeah, we'll go 25 here and then 25 here. And then we've done the exact same thing with the iron and the bricks. So that's our first route. And it looks like we finally have the money to build our window maker. So we'll build that. And now we can start producing windows and hopefully upgrading some of our warehouses. We have a significant shortage of artisans. So I'm going to upgrade probably 6 houses, which will give us exactly what we need. And now we're good. But now we have a shortage of workers. So we'll upgrade some of these farmers that are by the ocean. And there we go. Some balance in our lives. Let's take a look at the paper. And this is mostly okay, except the city has let itself go. I hate to put in so much propaganda. So I'm not sure why the city is uglier, apparently, but it is. So we'll take a look at this, and the vulgarity is our issue. Looks like we've got 2 ruins in here. So let's try to track those down, because if we get rid of the ruins, our attractiveness will go up and maybe people won't be so sad. So here's our ruins. We've got our iron mine, which is actually a pretty bad thing to have fail on us. And that apparently was it. We can't really do much about the soap factory and all the rest of the stuff we needed. And our weapons production has been painfully slow. I am contemplating doing something that's probably silly. But I think I want to double our weapons production. And the reason for this is we're going to be shipping off a whole bunch of weapons shortly. So we can finally build that extra ship. And this ship is going to be used. First of all, I want to look at all of our ships. So we've got the 2 on our main trade route. So that's the Dauntless and this one right here. And with our second ship, we're going to take food and weapons, which I believe is all that we need to protect those other islands. So I've extended this new block up. I'm trying to make up for all the workforce. For whatever reason, we had a huge oscillation of workers, and I don't really understand. Oh no, I think I get it. Our weapons factory is not in range. So we need to build a faster road here, and maybe that will get this in range of our warehouse. And that didn't seem to be the reason why, but we needed to do that anyway. So it's good that sometimes that's one of those good accidents that happens. Little happy accidents. Now we're going to take Herald and create a new trade route. Okay, and with this route, we've got it all set up. I took things down so that we didn't completely deplete our main island of its goods, but we're still going to get things here eventually. And we have to remember, these islands can produce things themselves. It's not as though they're completely helpless. We are going to continue building boats because I want to reinforce these routes if at all possible. And I think this makes us a more fearsome opponent for the NPCs as well. So we are going to just keep rolling with it and move across to our islands. I'm really excited about this. Taking a look at this, we should probably think a little bit about the way that this is going to lay out. And I think we have most of our industry in the back, maybe some farming near it. And we keep all of our harbors and all of our people close to the water. So I'm going to build the marketplace right here. And we'll start out with just a couple of residents. And we'll make this place super utilitarian in comparison to our other communities. Little mini backyards and really nothing else. And then we should obviously build a fishery. That is one of our basic needs. And now we should be good to at least have this thing operational. And what we're seeing over here is we've got tons of resources. I am curious though, we're going to add weapons up here. I can build the flamethrower over here. You better believe that we're going to do that. And this will cover that entire strait, which is what I was hoping for. That is wonderful. And now we're going to go over here as well and do something very similar. Let's look at where our resources are here. We actually have some of our industry in this area. I think I want to build this community around the waterfall. And let's take a break on that for a second. Look at our paper. Yeah, town is fireproof. Happiness in light and vast fleet constructed. That's great news. We're going to do that. And basically, I just want a nice modest connection over here. And then we'll have our marketplace right over here. Let's give this some space though. We're going to make this our pretty community. Can you imagine living right here? Holy cow. Probably not the most safe location from a flooding standpoint, but boy, oh boy, if you were here, what a great house. All right, so we've got our little community set up. Over here, we're going to add the exact same thing. I want to see the weapons, and then I really want to start building a flamethrower. Putting that nice and far out here. Now, I saw that we had a shortage of artisans over here. I'm not sure what that's all about, but we are absolutely going to try to take care of that. And it looks like we're good here now. We've also built another ship. I think we'll build a schooner this time, and we're going to add that to our trade route as well. And we also need to build our fishing harbor over here, our fishery. There we go. So these are both ready to upgrade, and I'm inclined to do it. And we finally have what it takes to build our flamethrower, and you better believe we are building that. So we've now protected a large chunk of ocean, and that was our main concern. Obviously, the NPCs aren't going to attack us now, but the pirates were the main concern of mine. And we now have completely open seas going to the old world. So this almost makes me feel bad for the pirates. Almost. I'm not quite there just yet, though. And we've got our new schooner. I'm going to open up our trade route, and we'll assign this to this route. So now we'll have two ships running the weapons back and forth. And here we are. Flamethrower. We now control the strait. So this is going to be massive for us. What I'm noticing is that we've got some issues with artisans. It seems like we're running out of pork, so we can't create new artisans. So you can see it right here, our sausage supply, not so good. There are some things that we could do to address this, but I think that we are entering a very, very good location, and we've set out to accomplish all of the goals that I had for today. And with this in mind, I think that we need to take inventory of what we've done and have a brief city tour. And I want to give Sean Scully a huge shout out for telling me how to do that. I had no idea that you could shift into a first person view, but it really does give you a feeling for what your community is actually like. And I just wanted to take a moment to admire how beautiful this game is once again. Just absolutely stunning. And as we improve our city, you can get a feel for what a nice place this would be to live. And I think this is where we leave it. And I really do hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did and you want to see more Anno, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. And if you have any Anno tips for me, leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for the privilege of your time today. I really do mean that. It is an honor to bring these videos to you, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.